Welcome again, all the students who have joined and the students who are joining now. With us, we have Dr. Shivani Kapoor, and you all know that ma'am is from NDIM, and there's more things that I would like to, talk about ma'am. Ma'am has completed her PhD on strategic human resource management. Ma'am is an MPhil, an MBA, and a BCom, and her area of expertise includes international HRM and organizational behavior. Ma'am has over 19 years of teaching experience with a lot of reputed institutions. Ma'am has written and presented more than 35 research papers in India as well as abroad. To name a few, Florida University, USA, UK, Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, Bangkok, IIM Lucknow, IIM Indore, MDI, XLRI, and the list goes on. She has won a lot of awards for her case studies as well as for research papers. That's the bio for the speaker today. And we have this awesome opportunity where we can discuss everything and anything that we want to know regarding these school interviews. So, ma'am, all these students have been, with us since a very long time. They have been in the journey of CAT with us. They've just given CAT exam, and they all are, it's time to face all those grilling interviews, which will finally take them to their dream college. And the season has started, and this is something which is very important, very prominent in the life of a manager. So the floor is yours. The students are here to learn. Meanwhile, whatever, if there's some special request, I'll be, interrupting you with some special doubts, questions, whatever it is. So with that, let's begin.
Thank you so much, Palash, Mr. Palash. Thank you, Bullseye, for inviting me for this session, because these things are very dear to me. For last 10 years, I have been conducting GD and PI for business schools, even for corporate houses for selection. So this is my forte, and I love talking about it with the students. And I basically do nothing, but I teach them and I tell them that how do we see things when we are on the other side of the table? So that's the whole idea. And I would like to share my screen so that students can get some idea on that. And good evening, Gautam. Thank you so much. And I would love to see chat box, popping up every now and then. So if you have queries, even I'll be asking questions, so you can connect and talk to me through the chat. I'll keep an eye on the chat box here. Okay, right. So can anybody tell me, since you people are preparing for PI, that what is the basic purpose of PI? Why do we conduct PIs? What are those things that we are actually looking for when we talk about PI? Yeah, don't worry. I will give a lot of tips on PI. That reminds me, last year, one of my students in Calcutta, he sent me a mail back stating that he got through Great Lakes, and ma'am, thanks for your tips. I applied them. Okay, Great Lakes is your dream institute. This is Chitrangna, who is talking about our personality. Anshul is talking about personality. Then Chitrangna is talking about to get to know about the candidate and see if they are good for the college. Get an idea about personality traits, confidence, knowledge to check on personality. Right. So if you see, one can tackle through different situations. So the basic idea is that what you are bringing to the table. Okay. When we talk about PGDM courses or MBA courses, you've already been into education for last 20 years. So obviously what happens is that you have certain traits, you have certain personality aspects. And as college, we try to see whether you fit in and your abilities are good enough to fit in with the campus, and can we develop you further so that you are ready for the corporate world? Okay, when I say corporate world, I don't only mean jobs. I am also talking about entrepreneurship. It has picked up in a big way. So what traits, what qualities you have in that particular aspect? Okay, so so the first thing that I'll get down to, how do you create a good first impression? You know, because first impression is the last impression. What are those little things? I'll just talk about it, spend 10 minutes on that, and then I'll go to the basic PI questions, which which all PI interviews, you are bound to be you will be asked those questions. The only thing is that they frame it in different manners, but answer more or less remains same for every college, for every interview. So the first thing is, how do you create a good first impression? Okay, I like Mandira and Manyu's answer is, ma'am, smile. I know you people have $1 million smile, or let's talk about $1 billion smile. That's definitely there. Dress up, posture, speaking, brilliant, very good. Your introductions. I'll teach you today basically, and I'll give you tips on, you can write down your introduction. It's very important that you highlight your plus points, and you know what you have to speak. How we walk in, definitely body language is a major point. Okay, so we'll start with the first aspect, because before you start speaking, your personality speaks. So how you dress up. Formal dressing is must. Please remember, students, that formal dressing is must. Mr. Palash, can I share my screen with the students? Is that okay?
Of course, ma'am.
Yeah. So I think so. All of you can see my screen.
So students can confirm in the comments if they're able to see. Anyone just let us know. Yes, they can. So we can see.
Yes. So you can see on my very first screen talks about two different forms of personal interviews these days. One, of course, is the one that we've been following, and now the new normal, that is through the virtual mode. Okay, so these are two things I'll be talking and giving you some tips on do's and don'ts of the virtual meetings also, because last 9 months I have been doing all my group discussions and personal interviews through the virtual mode. So yes, how do you create a good first impression is very, very important. Okay, groom yourself. Please understand, students, we are not looking at your aesthetic sense. We are not seeing कि आपने कितने अच्छे combinations पहने या कौन से brand का कपड़ा आप पहन के आए हैं. Simple चीज जो that we try to connect when we are seeing formal dressing is your attitude. Okay, so I give this tongue-in-cheek example to my students. क्या होता है, घर में शादी होती है तो क्या होता है, हम बहुत excited होते हैं, isn't it? We look forward for that day. तो हम उसकी तैयारी करते हैं, 1 महीने पहले से शुरू हो जाते हैं, 2 महीने पहले से, and girls, right from the matching thing to the matching thing, we arrange everything, right? It is just because we are happy about it, we are enthusiastic about it, so we are putting in efforts for it. So that's the only connect we see when you're formally dressed, but how important this particular day is. So it shows your point of view, your opinion, your attitude towards the interview. Dress formally. Boys, quickly first on you, and then I'll quickly breeze and give you tips on girls. So boys, trouser and shirt, of course. If like Great Lakes was there, so Chennai is a hot place. And all coastal areas are hot places. So, if you don't have a summer suit, please don't wear a suit. Just trouser and shirt is fine. And in shirt, please do not wear Govinda trousers and Salman Khan shirts. Normal plain shirts or pinstripe. Even check shirts, we do not consider them formals. You never wear a tie with a half sleeve shirt, okay? Because in India, we follow the Queen's procedure. We are not Americans. We don't follow the American concept here. We follow the British. So you never wear a tie with a half sleeve shirt. So don't make that mistake, okay? And shoes, leather shoes, preferably the lace ones, okay? और वो जो आजकल आप लोग तीर कमान वाले जूते नहीं चले हैं, those with spikes and big buckle and all that, please उसको शादी के लिए रखिएगा, not for a formal interaction. Then coming to very important aspects which you people are making mistakes these days, and that is वो जो सवेरे उठ के और जेल निकाल निकाल के स्पाइक्स बनते हैं सर पे, जिससे आपकी 2 इंच हाइट बढ़ती है, ठीक है? प्लीज डोंट डू दैट. नो स्पाइक्स. Beards are not acceptable, but if you're having a beard for the religious reason, it's comfortably it's fine for religious reasons, and but try to keep it well groomed. It should not be unkept. Okay. No piercing. I was interviewing, I remember, I think so, I was somewhere in Guwahati or somewhere interviewing for a company, okay? And this boy walked in, and believe it or not, he had 3 piercing here on his eyebrows. On one, he was wearing a globe. On the other, he was wearing a pyramid. And on the third, he was wearing a ring, normal, a ring. I asked him, I said, wasn't it painful? He said, no, ma'am, it looks cool. I said, thank you very much. Okay. I'll tell you the reason also why I'm telling you all these things. No piercing and no tattoo. अगर टैटू बनवा लिया है तो ऑब्वियसली अब आप उसको हटवा नहीं सकते ना मैं सजेस्ट करूंगी कि आप उसको हटवाइए, बट वेयर समथिंग दैट यू डोंट फ्लॉन्ट इट. ओके, सो दैट इज अ क्विक टिप फॉर बॉयज. और हाँ, जो आप लोग ये एग्जाम आते या कोई इंटरव्यू प्रोसेस आते बहुत ही ज्यादा रिलीजियस हो जाते हैं, देन यू हैव दिस 6 inches black threads here and all the molly and everything here. Please do not have it, because they are looking for very, very professional people. Okay, so 1 or 2 is sufficient, but not too many. So that was a quick thing on boys, that you have to be formally dressed. And if you're wearing, if you're giving in Delhi or a cold place, please wear your suit, proper suit with a tie, but not a very bright tie. You go to any segment of the stores, you'll get formal dressing there. I think so. It's a good investment to make in one dress and keep it for all your interviews. Okay, so that's for boys. Coming to girls, right? Girls, you know what formal dressing is. Today, it's mostly about Western, but yes, suits are also formal. Indian suits are also formal, but there needs to be of deep colors and proper suits, not slacks and kurtis. Okay, slacks and kurtis are not formal. Talking about Western formals, trouser and shirts, again, वो जो आजकल cold shoulder or cut shoulders and वो सब चलते हैं, please no, they have to be a formal shirt. Okay, and formal shirt colors also, please be very conscious. They should not be very loud. Deep colors or pastel colors are acceptable. Again, stripes or plain shirts, what we expect. Please do not wear stilettos. अगर आप 4 feet 8 inch भी हैं, तो no need. You're perfectly fine. Be confident. Okay, that is more important than trying to increase your height or look more beautiful in any aspect. Minimum makeup. Okay, whatever you are comfortable with. So just wear that. No danglers. Oh, big danglers, please no. Rings not more than 2 or 3. Don't become Ekta Kapoor. 10 rings in 10 hands. Not more than 1 bangle in 1 hand, because there should not be any noise from the jewelry. Okay, and if you're going in for interaction as far as the offline mode is concerned, this is especially for boys. Please wash your socks before you go for an interview. Okay, I've had horrifying experiences. And because cabins are small, you have a one-on-one interaction. So keep that in mind. It was purely in the tongue-in-cheek manner. All right. So I think so. There are some questions that students are wanting to ask. Okay. Yeah, blue color is an acceptable color. Gray, blue, black, deep brown. These are all formal colors for boys. that you can wear. Okay. Should we wear with formal shirt? Yes, you can wear depending on the weather. That's what I said. If you're coming to Delhi in this month of December, January, or February, normal woolen blazers are acceptable, and but they should be plain blazers. Okay, they should be, and colors could be gray, blue, black, deep brown. These are the acceptable colors. Mild perfumes, please, not very strong ones, and we do not recommend. It's just that you know, a feel good factor should come. um, Setting the hairs, no spikes, that's it, and normal haircut, normal hair. For girls, I'll come to the hair. Let me take this next question. For boys, as I said, please do not have spikes. वो जो आप height बढ़ाते हैं ना ऐसे ऐसे अपनी gel लगा के उसको मत करिएगा, please. Okay. The reason why I'm telling you this, students, is in fact, before I end, I will share research that was done in US. I'm a PhD, so I'm very fond of researchers. I read a lot when it comes to what kind of research are taking place. And it talks about in US, where people are not bothered, a culture where we consider they're not bothered about these things. There also people do not like very fashionable employees. So whatever tips I'm giving you for future also, okay? Because, you know, if you're very, very fashionable, most of your time goes in the washroom and restroom, checking yourself out rather than concentrating on work. You should be very confident. You should be presentable, but you're definitely not walking the ramp all the time, okay? So that's the reason why we suggest that you should not spend too much of time on those. Just do those things that make you feel comfortable, okay? English PI, see, most understand this, students. I keep telling all my students this, that English has a commercial value, because one of the students is asking, Vivek is asking me, ma'am, is it important to give an interview in English? Now, English is a commercial language, okay? If you know English, you are better paid off because that's the business language. We are picking up new languages. At NDIM, we are teaching Japanese because we have a Japanese collaboration with a lot of Japanese organizations. And especially after COVID, we are expecting a lot of Japanese company to come in. Daikin has picked up students from our side, you know, from the campus. And as I said, we have a big collab, a lot of MOUs we have with Japanese organizations. So now we are teaching our students Japanese language, because if they know that language, the probability of their getting a better package is much higher. So that's the only reason that I suggest my students, if you want to connect with me, I'll be dropping my email ID at the end of the session. I can teach you certain tricks that how you can improve your especially spoken language, English, you know. So या गर्ल्स ओपन हेयर अलाउड, बट जो आप लोग करते हैं ना, वो जो एक लट निकाल लेते हैं ऐसे, और लट निकालने के बाद उसको पीछे ले जाते हैं और 30 सेकंड बाद ही वो वापस आ जाती है, प्लीज वो मत करिएगा, ओके? बिकॉज आई कॉन्टैक्ट, आई टेल यू द रीजन. Eye contact is must. Eye contact is a very important form of communication. So don't do anything that hinders the flow of communication, right? So that's for girls. If you have short hair, I've kept my hair back. They are open, but they're back. They're not coming. So it's perfectly okay, right? So these are okay. So this is Saurav is asking me a question, ma'am. Do we get negative points if we switch languages among when we are giving a PI? Understand, Saurav, the rule of communication, the norm of communication there is that if you know a particular language, and if a person is asking you a question in that particular language, you should reply in that language. That's a norm when we are teaching communication, okay? So if somebody asks me a question in English, I'm supposed to reply. But in this setup, we always advise our students to stick to English, because as I said, English has a commercial value. It's the official business language of the country. So we will have to accept it that we should speak in English. so that we leave a better impression, because everybody knows that we will be knowing Hindi, Punjabi, these languages. So it's always better if we speak. Right, talking about the online, because I see a lot of questions coming on the online aspect. Okay, so online aspect, please students, in fact I've written a blog also on that, but it's still not posted. I have just completed that blog, writing that blog on virtual meetings. Right, you people get carried away when we are doing interviews or when we are sitting for an interview at home, because most of the time you're sitting in your bedroom and giving interviews. But please don't forget that in spite of the fact that you're giving it in your home, in the comforts of your house, still you are in a very, very formal setup. Okay, like what I do, so because NDIM switched to the online mode even before the government declared a lockdown. We do have very good technical setup, so we shifted to the online mode for the safety of our students in beginning March. Okay, and we told our students that when you are coming to the class, please be formally dressed and designate a place for yourself, like I have done. I have a workstation for myself. Okay, I have my table, which is there, a chair that is there, that's a place. So all my official setup is there. And whenever I'm sitting for my and I'm doing a meeting, whether I switch on the camera or not, you know, I ensure that I sit there. If you want to leave a real good impression, please have a plain wall at the back. Like I have a plain wall behind me. Keep the lighting good and proper. You can see my face clearly. Okay, never keep light behind you, because the moment you will have a window behind you or bright light behind you, your face will be dark and it will not leave a good impression. I'll share this with you. I really admire one of my colleagues. Her name is Dr. Radha Sharma. Okay, she's a pass out of Harvard Business School. And prior to joining NDIM, she was working with MDI Gurgaon. And whenever I hold meetings with her, she's a well-known personality in the area of organizational behavior. You know, she's written a lot of books and all also. I hold a meeting at 8. I see her sitting in a sari, all properly decked up. Decked up means proper, as if she was going to the campus. I am holding a meeting with her at 9 at night. And then also I see her like that. And, you know, I get so motivated looking at her. She's senior to me and I get so motivated and I say, God, that's the way. And here I would like to share one more thing, students. When you dress up properly and when you sit on a table and a chair, you know, it psychologically starts creeping in your mind that you're in a very formal setup and you actually become formal, right? Please ensure to look in the camera. That's very, very important. I have been talking to you people. I know for most of you, it will be whether am I audible or not. Can people see me or not? Okay. I'm talking to a wall. I'm talking to a void. But the fact remains the fact remains that everybody can see you. Right now, there are so many students who are looking at me. Okay. So I'm supposed to look right straight up in the camera, and that gives you a feel that someone is talking to me. So that's very, very important. Okay. Facial expressions. Yes. So I think so. Most of the students had talked about the smile part. Do not, okay, hand movements are must, but please ensure that they do not come in front of your face and the camera. Okay. I am doing a lot of hand movements, which you people can make out, but they're not letting my eye contact be hindered. That's very, very important. A little smile here and there is must, because it adds to your personality. It shows that you are happy about the whole process that's going on. As far as that is concerned, let me just stick to the PI today, and probably my next session or sometime we can take up VAT or GD, you know. So I'll just stick to, because if I try to divert on different areas, I'll not be able to complete my PI topic. I'm sorry, Abhimanyu, right? No, this is, sorry, Vivek. Sorry, Vivek. Abhimanyu has a question, ma'am. If we don't know the answer to some question, how should we respond? Sorry, sir, I don't know, but I'll definitely find it out. Okay. Okay, 10 years back, we suggested, 20 years back, we suggested that you can ask for the answer. That's if you would be kind enough to tell me the answer. But today we live in the knowledge era. Everything is available at a click of a button. So don't make that mistake of asking the interviewer the answer. But you can always say, sir, I will definitely find it. I'm sure. Just say in the beginning, sorry, sir, I don't know. Don't try to bluff. It's on my slide, one of the slides. Never try to tell a lie. Never try to bluff. Okay. So let me proceed, and then I'll take more questions as they come. I hope on the first impression part, the dressing part, everybody is clear. Girls, please wear minimum makeup, or makeup if you're comfortable in that particular makeup. I've had experiences where students were not used to wearing eyeliner and kajal, and they forgot, and they just they brushed their eye, and one swoop nakha came this side and the other this side. So don't make that mistake. Simple. It's very, very simple. Just stand in front of the mirror and ask yourself, is it adding to my personality, or is it a source of distraction? Okay. That will help you give all your answers when it comes to how you're supposed to go for your PIs. Please fill your application form properly, not a dirty application form, because remember that before you enter, your application form goes there. So when you're walking in, we are already gone through the application form. And yes, fill it yourself. I remember doing an interview at the campus once, and this form came up, which was very nice, and I was very impressed with the form. And then I asked the student, I said, is it your handwriting? Have you filled up the form? So we have this online form, and then we have this on the spot form also that they're supposed to fill. I said, no, ma'am, my dad has come with me and he has filled. I was like, what? At the graduation, once you've completed the graduation, are you still eating Cerelac? Okay, baby's food. Somebody needs to feed you. So don't make these kinds of mistakes. Okay, you see how we connect. It shows your dependency. You're so dependent. So as a businessman, are we looking for this kind of quality, right? So don't make these kinds of mistakes. Do greet. And here I would like to suggest that let's stick to the conventional method of wishing good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Don't try to shake hands with your professors, because that's not the normal thing that we do in India. And especially now with COVID already in, I would suggest not to do it, because some professors may not like it. Okay. So if they offer you a hand, obviously you're going to shake hands, and it should be a lock and key handshake, and which is a firm, nice handshake with your elbow a little up, and you do a nice, palm to palm grip that you make. So it's called a lock and key handshake that you do. Do not sit down until unless you're offered a chair. Don't think, kursi to mere liye rakhi gayi hai, baith jata hu main. अगर ऐसा होता है, एक सिचुएशन, कॉमन सी सिचुएशन है कि हम पिछले वाले इंटर कैंडिडेट के कमेंट्स लिख रहे हैं, या वी आर स्टक गोइंग थ्रू, and we are concentrating too much on your form. In that particular situation, just ask your interviewer, ma'am, please may I sit down, or ma'am, may I, when you're going to enter also, you're going to ask this, and not can I, please. Can I is ability, may I is permission. So keep that in mind. I'll just take questions. Let me just quickly breeze through this. Make a good eye contact. Ab please घूरने मत लगेगा ऐसे कि हाँ, I'm making an eye contact. Dr. Kapoor said we have to make an eye contact, right? So eye contact here means don't look at the ceiling, or don't look too much on the floor, or usually in our cabins we have a lot of books kept behind us, so don't try doing that. Try to look at the professors when you're giving an interview. Do show your enthusiasm. Okay, your willingness. Don't be dull. Nobody wants a dull candidate. Tell me, if tomorrow you have to employ somebody, will you employ somebody who is dull? Absolutely. Okay. How will you show your enthusiasm? Please notice how you people are walking. Do not drag your feet. That's a very major sign of your being lethargic. बेटा पैर नहीं उठा पा रहे हो, कंपनी को क्या उठाओगे तुम, मुझे ये बताओ. तो पहले पैर उठा के चलो. Throw your shoulders back, sit straight. Okay, don't go and sit like, take out a couch there and just sit like this. Or maybe, you know, leaning on the table. Don't make that mistake of using the table of the interviewer, keeping your stuff on the table. No, you're not supposed to use the table of the interviewer. Okay, if you have to keep your stuff, if you have a bag with you, just keep it down and rest it with the chair. If you have a folder which has your certificates and all, keep it on your lap, right? Never fold your hands and sit. So like this, don't make this mistake. In nonverbal communication, this is a message of arrogance. I know everything. What are you going to teach me? That's the nonverbal communication that these hand gestures show. So don't you know, cross your hands or cross your legs. Just keep your hands on your lap, okay, on your thighs, one on top of the other, or maybe clinch them a little like this. So not very tightly, but just loosely. And that's how you sit for an interview. I will be talking about these last 2 points on how to introduce yourself as we proceed. Let me just take the questions that are there. Yes, please. If a professor has given you a handshake, please make a handshake, okay? Because the professor right now is on a position, you are at the receiving end and he or she is at the giving end. Nobody will do it. I don't think so people are going to do it right now. Otherwise, also, we generally don't offer a handshake because in India, as I said, it's a Queen's thing. So we still accept good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. And if they have offered, please do a handshake. Otherwise, it's considered to be very rude, not rude, but very rude. Okay, right. So when you're talking about corporate employees, you need to read culture on this, okay? Not all cultures accept this. Americans have started this culture where they take the first name. If you go to Britain, I've spent some time there. If you go to UK, they always take the surname because that's how that's the mark of respect. And now in India, we talk about Indian culture. So in Indian culture, we do not take the name of our elders and especially our professors, because if you see the Indian culture where we put our teachers on a very high pedestal, as high as God, okay? So we never take the first name. So don't make this mistake. And please understand this, students. Whenever you are in a fix, go follow the conventional method because then you are at the safest mode, okay? If you say hi, okay. By the way, just telling you a bit, we do not use slangs, abbreviations, or short forms in any formal communication. When we are teaching the golden rules of communication, please understand, no slangs, no jargons, no short forms, no abbreviations, okay? Nothing is used. I remember I was doing, I'm an expert with Institute of Chartered Accountancy. So this was this boy who had passed out his CA and he had come for this session which the Institute had organized. And he had gone to this one of the top 4 companies for interview. And, you know, he said, ma'am, I don't know. I go for an interview and they take my introduction and during introduction only, they keep telling me that, thank you, we don't need your services. I say, how do you start? I say, ma'am, I say, hi. My dad is this, my mom is this with an accent. I said, why do you try doing this? And the moment you say dad and mom, that's where they say, okay, because they're looking for people, you are the face of the organization and they're looking for very professional people, okay? So they expect a lot of professional language. And when it comes to languages, it's a very, very cultural aspect, right? So I think so that answers the question of the student who had asked me, ma'am, why we can't take the names. Okay. Head movement, little bit of head movement is acceptable. To excess of everything is bad. Okay. So that was on the head movement. Ma'am, can you tell us how to behave in a GD? Okay. I will be, I think so. I can plan out one session on GD, because GD is a complete thing where I can teach you how to do GD, especially abstract topics of GD, current topics, controversial topics, so different types of GDs, and how what qualities are looked in GD. GD is a complete 1.5 hour session. Okay, so we can have it later on, and I don't want to divert today to GD. That's okay, Bhinav. Ma'am, can you tell us how to behave in a GD, ma'am? To fumble during interviews. Why do you want to fumble? Why do you want to fumble? Okay, in a PI, it is perfectly okay if you need 30 seconds to think. You can always ask for some time to think and organize your thoughts within your mind, right? It's perfectly fine. So don't fumble, and just ask your interviewers, please may I take 10 seconds to think, or 20 seconds. So can I think? And just take that time, permission, and then you can think and start. Okay. Fumbling is not something good. It's a part of your paraverbals. Okay. Communication is divided into three: verbal, non-verbal, and paraverbal. So paraverbal is where we are using too many fillers like sort of, actually, you see. So that we don't see as a good aspect in communication. Okay, so this boy, I don't know whether it's boy or girl, I see the name, Lakshya. Lakshya wants to ask that, ma'am, whenever I speak in an accent unknowingly, and my sister always calls it fake, but it comes from inside, and I don't try to put it. All right, so that's your, okay. Students, MTI is another aspect, okay? Mother tongue influence is another aspect of PI. So it is bound to be there. If you have an accent, please, you can't do much about it, then just leave it. And the only thing that I would suggest, if you have an MTI, don't be ashamed of it, because mother tongue influence is bound to be there. The moment I go to Kolkata, I become Shivani. Okay, I still remember coming to Chandigarh a long time back, and I couldn't understand what is Sector Satara. It took me 3-4 times to understand. Do I write my surname as Kapoor? But I've never stayed in Punjab. So when I went there for the first time, Satara, and then, it took me a while to understand, okay, Satra. Okay, so that's absolutely fine. All of us have a mother tongue influence. If you see a French person speaking English, it will be different. Britishers speak in a different manner. Americans speak it in different manner. The only thing that I would suggest, if you have any kind of accent, or if you have any kind of MTI, mother tongue influence, please speak at a medium pace. Do not speak too fast. Do not speak too slow. Okay, that's the trick to handle it. Because if you're going to speak too fast, you have a mother tongue influence, they'll not be able to understand, and communication will not be complete. If you have, if you speak too slow, you're giving them ample time to highlight on the aspects. Okay, there's a problem with this word. There's a problem with this word. There's a problem with this word. So you're giving them too much time to think and highlight on the MTI aspect. So that's my suggestion to this particular question that has been put up. Okay, yes, there will be stress interviews. There'll be panel interviews. It's a very common method today. I'll just share, HUL was in for the campus recruitment at the campus, and they have picked up students in bulk from the campus. And you'll not believe, but HUL does it every time whenever they come to for recruitments. And that is that they call an HR person, and the job of the HR person is only to, keep a close watch whenever the GD and the PI is going on at NDIM. So that's the job, because she or he is picking up clues when they are doing, when you're giving a personal interview or a GD, okay? So how do you greet? That's very important. So you say, good morning, panelist, and then you look at everybody. You don't look at one person. So if there are three people, you try to make an eye contact with all three. If you have one sir and two madams or vice versa, so it's always the ladies come first. Good morning, ma'am. Good morning, sir. And then you look at them, you give a smile, and you ensure that you have an eye contact with the complete panel that is sitting there. That's how you greet, okay? Okay, I'll take this question and probably I'll move to the introduction part because we are running out of time. So this is not moving.
Shivani ma'am, I
yes.
would like to interrupt a bit. Yes. So ma'am, you discussed, I was listening and it's going on very interesting, the whole session. So you were talking about that, in the Indian system, we don't take names. So I've been getting a lot of comments. So would you just quickly like to address that, and then you can, continue?
Okay. So I did address that. See, there is something known as, when you will study HR. I teach international HRM at the campus. Okay. So when you go to a particular college or a company, or every college and company has a culture. Okay. And this culture is highly influenced by the country culture. So whenever we move from country to country, our aspects change. So yes, if I talk about American Express, they have a system of taking name, the first name especially, because it's an American company. So American Express wants that wherever they are working, they should have an American influence. Okay, so that's the reason. But any college in India is highly influenced by the Indian culture. And in Indian culture, we don't take names of elders. Forget the first name or the second name. So we generally call them sir, madam. So that's how you address, okay? Because of the strong cultural aspect. If you were studying in America and if you were going in America, there you generally refer them as profs, okay? So professors or prof, that's how you address them. If you go to UK, you'll find that they address their elders with surnames. Okay, so they don't take first names. So if it's Philip Wright, then they'll say Mr. Wright rather than saying Philip. So that's the cultural aspect. And since I'm training these students for an Indian institute, in India and cultural aspect of India, so here we do not take the names of our elders, our seniors, and especially professors, because as I said, that teachers are always, Indian culture talks about teachers as people who are on a very high pedestal, okay? Tomorrow, if you join an American company which wants the host country to have a lot of parent country influence, then of course, you'll start. So you imbibe and you change yourself according to the culture. So it's a very subjective thing, okay? And as I said, as far as my students are concerned, I always teach them that whenever you are in a fix, go for the conventional method so that you always say. So if you call somebody American also sir, madam, they'll not get offended. But if you call an Indian by the first name, they might get offended. Okay, he's just 20, 22 and I'm 60 and why is he taking my name? So that's a cultural aspect, okay? I hope I've answered the question on this particular aspect. If you want to read more on culture, please, there's a wonderful study by Hospeed. It's available on the net also. You can go and it's an exhaustive study by Hospeed, okay? That's the name. And we teach that in international HRM. So, right, should I go and talk about how to introduce yourself, because that's very, very important. Okay, I've already covered all the do's and don'ts. So interview, when you'll go for an interview, students, these would be the questions that would be generally asked, okay? The aspect would change, you know, the wordings would change, but the concept will remain same. Tell me about yourself, take me through your resume, or, you know, yes, why should we take you? Okay, one word for yourself. So if they have to put you in pressure, they may ask questions like one word for yourself, one word that defines you best, okay? Tell me something that is not there in your CV or form. So these are the kind of questions that most of you will be confronting. Of course, there'll be technical aspects. So generally, a PI would be divided into 3 or 4 different categories, okay? So first is you, your achievements, your aspect, you as a personality. Second would be your academic, so your you know, content, the knowledge base that you're bringing. Third, behavioral concepts have really gone up, so attitude, perception, and you know, when I was talking about all these aspects of, you know, creating a good first impression, confidence, communication, I was talking and I was referring to this behavioral aspect. And fourth would be your current affairs, you know, how updated are you when it comes to what is happening in and around. So majorly, other colleges may have some more criteria, but generally there are these 4 verticals on the basis of which we try to gauge a student. So can anybody tell me what you're going to talk about when you're going to talk about, tell me about yourself, or take me through your resume, or, you know, who are you? So can anybody just put something on the chat? Okay. Right. Okay. Brilliant. Yes, Karanveer, good name academics. Okay, so most of you do have some idea, and I'll just put it in a more professional manner. So how you start introducing yourself is, first thing first is you're going to write your introduction. Students, please give at least an hour to yourself and write your introduction. Ideally, an introduction should not go beyond a minute to 90 seconds, okay? And it should not be very small also, until unless you ask for one word. Again, keep all your senses open when you are in an interview. You'll get a lot of clues from the interviewer. You know, you will have to cut short or increase if you see that the interviewer is really keen and want to know more about a particular aspect, right? So how you start is, you can start with your, you know, that if you want to talk about your family and the place that you come from, just 2 lines is sufficient. We are not looking for, you know, thesis on it. Students come up with, what is my sister-in-law doing? What is my brother-in-law doing? You're not interested. You're just interested in you and what you are bringing to the table. There are at times where we might like to know a bit about your family, because your family might define your personality, okay? But that's it, not much into detail. So you can start like, okay, I'm so and so, I belong to, or I hail from, or I'm born and bred, if you want to use phases and you like. So I'm born and bred in this particular place. I come from a nuclear family of 4 members. That's it. Or maybe one more line, my father is a businessman, my mother is a homemaker. And there's a very common mistake जो आप लोग करते हैं क्योंकि nervous होते हैं. मैंने बहुत सुना है students को कहते हुए, my mother is a housemaker. Housemaker is a labor. Homemaker, okay? So home is the intangible word that home means somebody, she makes a home which is full of love and affection, the intangible aspects, okay? And so you get so nervous. That's it. We're not looking for thesis on that. If I'm interested in knowing about your family, I'll pull threads. Okay, I'm going to ask, okay, what does your father do? How many siblings are you? I'll ask questions. Come straight to what you have done, and you go in the descending order. Okay, so you'll start with your current graduation, go to your 12th and 10th. Okay, that's how you're going to talk about. See, I'll tell you how. So I'm currently pursuing my BCom honors from this particular university. My specialization, if you have any specialization, or as I said, honors. So if I'm an accounts honors or an economic honors, whatever, explain that. If you feel that your percentage is worth mentioning, you are a medal holder, please talk about it, because that is your caliber. Your IQ level is good. You are a position holder, mention. Otherwise, keep quiet. Okay, you don't need to mention. Then you talk about your 12th and 10th. So like in my case, I would say I have done my 10th and 12th from St. Mary's Convent, ICSE board with humanities. 2-line, short, crisp, interviewer knows I have a convent background. I've come from CBSE board or an ICSE board, and what has been my stream. If I don't have a school worth flaunting, I'll just say I've done my 12th and 10th from CBSE board, and my stream was commerce. That's it. If I am a 90% person, I'm going to flaunt. I'm going to bring it on table. That is why I keep telling my students, please write down your introduction. You have a lot to talk about. You've achieved a lot, okay? So that's how you're going to talk about your academics. Then you're going to talk about, some of you might have some work experience. If you're currently working, then you're going to start from working and then come to education. Okay, because in management schools, we do give you weightage for your past experiences. Like I can share, I've seen this when companies come, they do consider this as a selling point. Okay, so a lot of companies, Archer and Bull had recently come for an HR. It's a Dubai-based company, very famous when it comes to HR, recruitment. So they had this in mind, and by the way, they did all their selection process through the video mode. So start practicing that also. So I made my students do their video introduction. I made them do their question and answers. They had sent a case study where they expected the answers to be done in video. So that's the new normal that is coming up instead of the face-to-face interviews. So coming back to what I was discussing here was that if you're working, please talk about that, then come to academics. And then you're going to talk about your projects. If you have done any kind of project, especially engineering students, please talk about your project, because, today, be it management colleges, be it companies, they look forward for the hands-on experience. All the interviews that I'm sitting in for these days with the companies, because at NDIM, there are a lot of companies coming in for recruitments, okay? Their questions and everything is around summer internship and live projects, right? So if you've done any kind of live project, if you've done any kind of projects, internships, please talk about them. That's your selling point. Then you're going to talk about your extracurricular activities. Please make a note that today we divide extracurricular activities into 3 different aspects. Okay. One is what I have won. If I have won certain things, if I've got certificates, I was I won things in debate. These days, you people go for youth parliaments. I see a lot of youngsters participating in that. So what have you won? That's one. Second is where you have participated. Okay. And third is what you have organized. In a management school, these things are very important. You can club your sports and the extracurricular aspect together, or if you have too many, you can even divide it into sports separately and these things separately. But do highlight. See, you have to highlight your achievements. If you don't do that, No college is going to pick you. Okay, so please put them into 3 aspects. So you can just say, talking about my co-curricular activities, I have been into, debate. I have won international debate competitions at school level. I have also been the core team member at the college for organizing various events like the annual fest and whatever you have done. And I have participated in different activities. So I used to represent my school as well as college to various debate competitions, street plays, wherever you have participated, list them down. So 3 things clearly highlighting you are very, very clear about each and every vertical of yours. Okay. Then you, this will almost take your 40-45 minutes. One thing that you're going to talk now about is your abilities. Okay, students, here I'm going to teach you a little trick on art of communication. Do not talk about strengths and weaknesses. Okay, you're going to be ready. I'm going to teach you how to speak on strengths and weaknesses. Please do not talk in your introduction. Do not highlight your weaknesses. Don't talk about your weaknesses until unless you are asked. If I ask you, okay, what are your weaknesses? Then you talk. Else you don't wash your dirty linens in public, okay? Everybody has weaknesses, but why should I flaunt? It's not something to flaunt, okay? So I'm ready with it. The moment I'm asked a question, I'll speak. Why I generally teach my students, as I said, this is art of communication, is when you use the word strengths, weakness automatically comes. So here I tell them that don't use the word strength, just say my abilities. Talking about my abilities, okay? Talk about the things that I'm good at. I'm a team player. I have leadership qualities. You can talk about these aspects, okay? If you want to segregate between your hobbies and the co-curricular activities, you can do that. Otherwise, I generally tell my students to club it with the extracurricular activities because they're generally your hobbies. But if you have something that you want to, specify as hobbies, you can talk about your hobbies, but please do not make very strong statements like, I'm passionate about, or, these extreme statements can actually will put you at a state where the professor might corner you. I remember doing this. This is interesting incident that I had. So I had this professor with me. Professor Dasgupta, and he's from Kolkata, and I know how many degrees he has, 7-8 degrees he has, and he's a die-hard fan of Rabindra Sangeet. Okay. And we were sitting in Kolkata and taking interview together. It was a panel interview. And this boy walked up and he thought, okay, these 2 professors have come from Delhi. They would not have a clue of what Rabindra Sangeet is all about. And he said that, I'm passionate about Rabindra Sangeet. And he just did not have an idea that the gentleman sitting next to me, who's around 60, 65, has been listening Rabindra Sangeet for last 65 years. And I looked at Professor Dasgupta. I said, sir, over to you. He's all yours. And the way he was drilled, you cannot imagine. So don't do that. Don't try to bluff. Don't try to make very extreme until unless you feel you are a master in it and you can handle all the questions. So again, let's play a little trick and art of communication in my free time. Whenever I get time, I like listening to music, okay? Or I am into this. So that's how you sound natural, and the chances, the probability that you will be cornered is also less, okay? So I'm more than happy to take questions. Okay, before that, I'll just show you what are those skills that are highly, highly looked up these days in the corporate world. These are some of the skills that I have written for you people. Do not talk about hardworking because hardworking is no longer a skill today. It's mandatory, okay? So my ability to prioritize, my ability to, solve problems. I can work under pressure. I am a very focused person. So my professional expertise, if you're an engineer or you're great at something, you can talk about. My leadership skills. I have a very positive attitude, okay? So a counter question can come, okay, we reject you, what will you do? So I'll go back, I'll introspect, what are my gray areas or where is the loophole? I'll try to work on it and come back again. That shows your positive attitude. And I will keep reminding myself what I have learned and what I have taken away from this particular interaction with two senior people like you. So that's how you show that you have a positive attitude. Okay, I have some questions here. I'll take them. Right.
So ma'am, while you're taking the questions, it's it's the first time that we are getting so many responses. A lot of
Yes.
students are, they're bombarding with doubts, which just shows
Yes.
it just shows how important preparing for interview is, and for any student. So what I've done is I've given them a message which basically says that every doubt will be answered. So we will
Yes.
not leave anyone thirsty. I'll
Yes.
compile all these questions, and I'll try to mail you or something, so that we can connect back, because we have this counseling number. This is for all the students. On your
Yeah.
chat box, you can see I've provided a number where you can call, and
Yes.
maybe you can just talk about what your doubts are, if they're not well justified in this session, because as you know, there is this time constraint
Yes,
of
and I just checked my mobile. It says 6:03, you know. So I'll
yeah.
probably take last two questions and then we can
Yes,
wind it up. Is that okay
of course,
with you?
ma'am. Even I lost track of time listening to you. It's
Yes.
already so yeah,
Yes,
of course, ma'am.
and that's what I said. You know, I love interacting with students, and it's so wonderful that I'm sitting in one part of the country and I'm interacting with students from different parts of the country. Okay, so there is this interesting question which I would love to answer is that, ma'am, how to deal with stress interviews and why should we hire you? What should be the answer? So these two questions, I'll just take these two questions. Why we should hire you is you're going to talk only about your abilities. Okay, how are you different from the rest of the 100 students who are sitting out? Okay, so think, that's what I said, think about your qualities, what you have. This tremendous, you know, if I guide you people there, every aspect of your life has put in a trait in you. For example, you know, that's a nice answer for the question, tell me something that's not there in your CV. Now, a lot of you might be coming from a business background and your father has a retail outlet or, you know, something which has a lot of public dealing happening. And it's a very common cultural aspect in India that the moment you join graduation, especially boys, you start going and sitting at that retail counter. Okay, you don't mention it anywhere, but that sitting every day for 2 hours or 3 hours has taught you, which is a very important trait that you've learned, and that is art of public dealing. Okay, so you can talk about it. Please think that what are those traits that you have developed? You come from a joint family. You've automatically learned the art of sharing. You know how to your interpersonal skills have improved because you've been dealing with 3 generations. You know, your grandparents, your parents, you, and probably you have nephew, niece also who are younger to you. You've learned that. You can talk about it. The only thing is how you're going to present it. That's very, very important. Okay. So why they should take you? Please list out your strengths. Think about them, that these are the traits that I have. And on top of that, fill it with a lot of energy. Fill it with a lot of enthusiasm. सोचो अगर मैं तुम लोगों का लेक्चर इस पिच पे इस तरीके से लेती, तो क्या तुम्हें लगता है you people would have stayed with me for so long? You would have said, ma'am, please let us go. Our 1 hour is very, very important. You're enjoying it because I'm enjoying it. I'm putting in a lot of energy in it. I'm looking forward for the questions. So that is what you need to, add on when you're talking about your strengths, right? And I forgot the second question. What was it? One was, of course, why should we take you? And second was the question. I'm sorry, I forgot. If you can retype, because I've lost track of it also. I don't know where I've lost it. Okay, stress interviews, right? Students, stress interviews are deliberately created. Just keep your calm. And if you feel you're getting stressed, please have water. Water will help you. Take a deep breath. And before entering the interview room, tell yourself everybody is a human being at the end of the day. When I'm taking interviews, I'm also a human being. I'm not going to hit you, okay? It's just that we are just sitting on different sides of the table. But at the end of the day, I also have kids at home. I'm also a human being. And there were days when I was sitting on the other side. So just relax yourself. And there's a very strong correlation between confidence and your knowledge base. So before I end, I just want to recommend read newspaper. Newspaper reading does not mean you take a paper and read. Either listen to news, or if you have an app, please read it on the app. But update yourself with what is happening. Okay, the more knowledge you have, the more confident you'll become. So that would be my my sincere advice to everybody. If I have subject knowledge, then in that particular case, I'm more confident. Stress interviews can be created. Stress interviews are when a lot of questions are asked together and a lot of pressure is created on the candidate to see that whether you can handle the situation or not. Okay, so that's the stress interview. At times, companies also create physical stresses. Maybe a broken chair, or they'll just remove the door closer so that the moment you enter, door makes a lot of noise and you are under pressure. Oh, I've not been able to create a good first impression. So those are things. But physical stress is less. It's very rare, but it's mostly the psychological stress, and that would be created on you people. So just relax, take a deep breath, take one question at a time, and that will help you handle your stress interviews. So yes, thank you very much, students. It was lovely interacting with all of you. And if you're looking for my email ID, you can take my email ID from Mr. Palash, okay, and he'll give you, and I can answer your questions. And of course, the number has already been shared with all of you. So I'll be more than happy to answer all the questions, and I wish you good luck. Please stay at home, stay safe, but keep learning. Don't stop learning, okay?
Wow. So, ma'am, before we leave, I would, again like to thank you, because we keep organizing webinars like these, and most of the time we either talk about, scoring good marks and a lot of things we discuss. But, today specifically, while I was reading the comments, a lot of people were mentioning that, they had a wonderful and informative session. So that really shows that, this 1 hour, because if students are learning, then our purpose is solved. So again, I would like to thank you for taking out time for such a wonderful session. And if possible, I'll try, because on the popular demand, I'll try to find time on your calendar so that I can, disturb you again and make more such sessions possible.
Sure.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
I would be more than happy to interact with lovely students and take either a session on GD, because that was the thing, or maybe we can have one more additional session on PI. Thank you very much, students. God bless you all, and just keep learning and keep moving, okay? Don't stop. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. So for all the students who have attended, ma'am has now ma'am has left the session. But before you guys leave, I would like to say that thank you for taking out time, because I know you all are very busy. We are trying really hard because we want more of these sessions, because these are the sessions where actual learning happens. So I have a lot of sessions lined up. We have another session on 19th, then we are having on 23rd, then on 25th, 27th. The calendar is packed. So it's for you guys. And if you attend, you put on your comments and you appreciate, then that is what we want at the end of the day. So thank you so much for joining. On that point, I would conclude this meeting. And for anyone who thinks that his question was unaddressed, trust me, we have a whole team which will be reading all the comments. We will be forwarding them to Shivani ma'am, and someone will get back to you. Thank you again. On that point, good evening, everyone, and let's go on a high spirited mood. All the best for your next B School interview.